Hey, how's it going? I'm Harry from the Backfires, and we're on our tour for our debut album, This Is Not an Exit. And this is a rig rundown, I guess. So this is my main guitar. It's an Epiphone ES335 Pro with some brand new pickups in it. One of them's a jazz pickup. I know that one's a jazz pickup, and I don't know what that is. And I couldn't tell you which jazz pickup. I think this is a Seymour Duncan. As Alex was... Huh? I don't think this one is necessarily. It might be a Duncan Jazz.
It's Duncan Jazz.
Yeah. Then it's go to the same guy as Alex. He was talking about it in his Matt at 30th Street in New York. So I don't know anything about pickups. He does. So I trusted him, and then they're in here. And I try and use this all the time. I have everything turned up all the time, and this in the middle, and that's how it is all the time. I turn this down sometimes, but it's not wired, so it can be gradual. So I'll turn it all if I need to do like a hammer-on to make it do like a fade-in note. I don't know how to describe that. But if you want the note to fade in, not without all the attack, I can use it for that, but not very effectively. It's more like a hammer-on and then turn it on afterwards, and then it's just all on. So they're just all on all the time other than that. NYXLs 10 to 46. This is probably actually a nicer guitar technically. It's a Gibson Les Paul Junior double cut. I think it's Junior Special. It's got two P90s in it. Could not tell you which ones. Probably just the ones it came with, and I think it's from the 90s, this one. I also just leave this in the middle all the time, with all the way up. Same strings as the other guitar, and then this also has the whatever you call this, the neck is sanded down and then lacquered over, I think. Just to make it really smooth, because the paint with my rings, the paint was like coming off and it made it really sticky, so I couldn't use it for a while. But now it's back, and I don't actually use it for any of the songs unless I have to. It's just a backup for right now. The tuning, I'm in regular tuning most of the time. For one song called Replace It All, the high E string is tuned to D, and for a couple songs, including Figure It Out, the low E string is tuned to D, so just drop D. But everything else is in standard tuning. Alright, so first up there is a tuner, and it's just regular input, output, cuts the signal dead. Nothing else to say about the tuner. It goes into this other tuner, which is bypassed, and I use that to tune whilst also making noise, obviously. So like going into drop D for transitions, sometimes I have that on and you can tell that you're going to D effectively and not just guessing. This compressor I use purely I only use it when I'm going for clean tones, so it's just like to make the amp sound a bit better. Yeah, that isn't on any other time. It's not always on, it's only for clean. And then that's going into this Fuzz Factory, which I use for some solo parts. I'm currently only using it for one song, but it should be for two. I just haven't figured it out for the second one. So it's currently being used on a song called Turn Off the Lights. It just has like this really big attack that is slightly different to this pedal over here, which I use for the main solos. This OCD is just like my main distortion that's basically always on, and then this is a boost on top of that. Sometimes, very rarely, I'll use this one without this one if I just need to like a bit of a cleaner part, because without this one underneath it, it's a bit cleaner, like nicer, less distortion. And then this is for solos and like occasional very loud lead parts. This is a whammy. It's just used for making noises in between songs. It's usually in the octave up-down position. I also use it for some solo parts, and on a song called Matador there's a big riff at the end that has this octave on in combination with all three of these at the same time. But then it's going into this one, which is the timeline, Strymon timeline. I'm not big on fucking around with the settings. I kind of just trust the presets, and so setting 1 on this is called Meltaway, and it's got like this, it's just a delay that's like almost synth-like, and I use that all the time on loads of songs, on intros, on main lead parts, in combination with these two usually. And there's another one that I use sometimes, which is like a reverse sound, and that's just to sort of make noises in between songs. It's not really that useful. For the actual songs. And then that's going into this Space Echo This, if you hold it down, makes like a, I don't know if he's going to do it right now, but makes like the space echo noise when you like are fucking with the tape. So I use that to make noises in a couple songs and between songs, and then it's occasionally used as a delay for, this is not an exit, a clean part, this is on at the beginning, and then that is going into this Strymon Night Sky, which actually broke yesterday, but it's still working apart from this infinite thing, and it's definitely fancier than I need it. Basically everything is set to 0, except that there's a basic reverb dialed in, and then there's a low cut on it, and it's always on. And occasionally when I need more reverb, there's a setting that it's just basically this, but up a bit. That's about it, I think. I also had a Boss DD8, but that broke, or isn't currently working, but that would usually be on there as well. This is a KJ Audio. It's actually not the amp I use most of the time. My amp broke the day before we left tour. I usually use a Fender Hot Rod. This is one of our managers, and it lives at Diamond City Studio in Brooklyn, where we recorded our album. I went to test a bunch of them before we left the tour, and this was the closest one. And it's, yeah, KJ is a dude out in Minneapolis, and he makes these custom amps. So this is like a handmade Marshall situation, hand-wired with Celestion speaker in the back, and it's really sick. But I don't think I'm gonna get my Hot Rod back next week. But this amp is very cool, and you should definitely check out KJ Audio there. So yeah, when we're playing live, it's just like for this amp, everything's, the treble and the presence are all the way up because I need more high end than this is giving me generally. Often I like to have the bass on my Hot Rod. The bass would be sort of up this way, the middle somewhere there, and the treble like that. That's how I would generally do it. Our debut album, This Is Not An Exit, is out now, and we're on tour the next month, going all over North America on our tour for the debut record.